Haylie. I wanted to touch base with you guys and address kind of some of the questions that you've had. I recruited Leilani today. She is one of my fast metabolism coaches, and she does our phone coaching for individuals that want kind of some unique, individualized suggestions and ideas. But every week we also meet and go over the questions that she has that you guys have brought to her. And those of you in the fast metabolism support group, which I love, as well as a lot of the people that Leilani's getting on the private coaching, had some questions about hair loss. And I wanted to bring Leilani in because she not only had a lot of success with the FMD. Leilani, how much did you lose?
57 pounds.
Yes?
Yes.
She also shared kind of some of the bumps in the roads that you guys are expressing happen. And what was one of those?
One of the big ones was hair loss. I had a lot of hair loss, a lot of hair in the brush, a lot of hair in the shower. Didn't quite know what was going on, was a little worried. Sent out the SOS to Haylie and said, hey, what the heck's going on here? So she educated me a little bit, which I'm hoping she's going to do for you guys as well.
Yeah, and we definitely got her the support that she needed, and you're doing really good in that area
yes,
now, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Good. So I think we've all bought into the idea that hormone imbalances can definitely lead to weight gain, meaning that if you have an issue with your thyroid, if your sex hormones, estrogens, progesterones, testosterones are off, that it can be easier for your body definitely to gain weight and very difficult for your body to lose weight. Well, the opposite is also true. When you lose weight, it has an effect on your body's hormone systems. So if something was maybe minorly out of balance or just a little bit out of balance, or maybe wasn't even out of balance at all, but you've had pretty drastic weight loss, your body's got to try to figure out how to make everything kind of work together and work in conjunction. And the hormones, definitely, there's feedback loops, things that go on that I always kind of call it, it's definitely a push-pull relationship that go on that affect the body. So when an individual loses a lot of weight, it can make things like the thyroid, maybe some of the sex hormones, especially the testosterone balance, but also some of the fat-soluble vitamins like vitamin D look a little different than maybe when you were 20 or 40 pounds, had 20 or 40 pounds more on your body, you were carrying that around. And so, like, for example, in your situation, we were looking at a situation where there was maybe some subtle hormone imbalances that maybe led to the weight gain in the first place.
Sure. And
you were experiencing those, and as her body started to shed that weight, some of those hormone imbalances actually became a little more evident before they corrected. And in your case specifically, if you don't mind me talking about it, there was a lot that had going on about one of the three things that I talked about, which was how the body utilizes the thyroid hormones. So our body primarily produces T4. That's the form in which the thyroid gland produces the majority of, a good 80+% of the thyroids that are secreted are T4. Our liver then has to convert that T4 into T3, which is metabolically active, meaning it can go in, it can bind to those receptor sites, it creates that thermogenic burn. The thing that's kind of unique about the thyroid hormone is we always talk about it, with weight gain and weight loss. But because it actually has receptor sites on every cell in the body, it's really, really sensitive to the cells that have rapid growth. So hair, skin, nails, and even the bowel. We get a lot of people that deal with things like constipation or loose stool that have thyroid imbalances. They typically have a hard time in their GI tract as well. They get kind of gassy, bloating, things like that. But again, the rapid growing cells, the cracks in the nails, the hair loss, the hair follicles, these grow a lot faster than our long bone, right? Or else imagine how tall we would be. So as we start to, our hormones are basically manufactured of kind of proteins and lipids and fats. And as we start to break down our fats, and I know I've talked a lot about, you hear my dog barking, great. We've talked a lot about fat-soluble toxins, but we're also talking about how the body manufactures hormones. So with you in particular, a lot of that had to do with not having the right nutrients in place to support healthy thyroid function.
okay, so how would one know that? I mean, obviously I knew because my hair was falling out and brittle and straw-like. Is there other symptoms we should be looking for?
Definitely if you have an issue with constipation. That's a good one. Cracks on the heels.
Check.
Body temperature regulations either way. Either really hot, really cold, feeling clammy, which that can also have an effect, with some of the other hormones. But you want to look for that. And the bottom line is we don't necessarily want to go in, when something's out of balance, we don't want to go in and necessarily stimulate it. A lot of supplements are designed to stimulate, or even pharmaceuticals are designed to stimulate. Feel free to throw something there, are designed to kind of stimulate the hormones. What we want to do is we want to go in and we want to feed those glands so that they can efficiently, one, convert from the T4 to T3, but also that the receptor sites are just, hands open, ready to receive the hormone. And so with you, we did do some targeted supplementation. We used some selenium and some iodine and some gugalipids, ashwagandha, an herbal, that just helped kind of reestablish that balance. The weight loss actually made some of the hormone imbalances rear their heads a little bit more, which I always say the body whispers. If it's listened to, it doesn't need to do more than whispering. Then it talks. If it's listened to or gets its needs met, it doesn't need to do more than talking. But it has no problem yelling or screaming. And so as we're making these changes and as your body's kind of starting to peel away the layers of the onion or address different things, your body was whispering, and then it started to talk, and then it started yelling, and it started to scream. And what we wanted to do is go in and look at that. So there's usually 3 things with the hair loss that I look at. In your case specifically, we were supporting for the thyroid. You took the T4, T3 metabolism. I take that on every day. I take the T4, T3 metabolism and the Metabolism Ready because it helps level my playing field, from a nutrient perspective. It really helps, believe it or not, I have a little bit of stress. It really helps me have really open receptor sites, and it's not stimulating, so it's not something that's going to push me past what I need from a health perspective. It's actually going to feed and nourish me. So that's the difference. In Chinese medicine, they talk a lot about stimulating foods. They talk a lot about tonifying. And so I really focus on strengthening myself and tonifying myself and tonifying my hormones and making my receptor sites available so that when I produce a hormone, my body says, bring it on, where is it, and it's looking for it. Sure. So that's one really primary thing we look for weight loss. And again, if hormones being out of balance can cause weight gain, the loss of weight can cause hormone imbalances to be more evident. Okay? So the other factor that we look at, and don't hesitate to do this every once in a while, the other factor that we look at is testosterone. Okay, and that wasn't necessarily the case with you, but things to look for is when individuals have weight loss, but they still stay very soft or fluffy, or like you have that doughy feel. A lot of people think only about testosterone and men.
Right.
Women actually produce testosterone, and the testosterone levels actually have a tendency to really plummet around menopause, perimenopausal time. Testosterone levels, even though they're lower in women, are incredibly important for cardiovascular health, brain cognition and function, really, really important for bone density, and again, for hair. What happens with women a lot of times, if there's a hormone imbalance, especially, I know we've talked about the liver a lot, if the liver's not converting the testosterone that you have efficiently, the body will produce what's called DHT. And DHT is a type of testosterone. It's kind of I'll use the word dyslexic. It's a form of testosterone that actually goes in and it inhibits the hair follicle from having vitality and nutrients. We usually get patchy hair loss, although I know you recognize that. The thing about it is that you don't get a toned look. That's one thing that I really look for. We brought on the testosterone metabolism. You did not use that, but I use that for that reason. Again, it doesn't stimulate testosterone. It doesn't produce or promote testosterone production, but what it does is it's the foods or the nutrients so that the body metabolizes testosterone efficiently. When you have your testosterone tested, make sure they test total testosterone, free testosterone. I like, if you're having hair loss, to check the DHT, but also sex-binding hormone globulin, SBHG. Because what happens is if, let's say you have plenty of testosterone, let's say your testosterone is even a little bit low, if the liver is having a hard time with its conversion into free testosterone or available testosterone, your liver will produce a hormone called sex-binding hormone globulin that'll go in and it'll mask the receptor sites of your ability to utilize testosterone. So don't just say, hey, my testosterone levels are great, this shouldn't be related to hair loss. You want to look at, because that's like this big flying over the city and saying there's no crime, right? You want to get in and talk to the people. Sure. You want to go up and down the alleys and the streets and find out what's really going on, right? So you want to look at how the liver's utilizing testosterone, how much is free, but then also you want to look at receptor sites. I'm always talking about washing receptor sites, and the testosterone metabolism is food to kind of, again, make whatever you're producing or those receptor sites bioavailable. The third thing, which did also pertain to you, is vitamin D deficiency. you can actually have hair loss with both vitamin D deficiency and toxicity. So it's very important, if you've either had 10% of your body weight reduced, you should or increased, you should always have, this is my rule of thumb, 10% body weight loss or gain. So for every 200 pounds, if you lose or gain 20 pounds, okay, you should have your vitamin D levels. It's a fat-soluble vitamin that is stored in the liver. There's a lot of us out there that are really, trying to get it to be considered actually a hormone. Vitamin D is also one of those unique things that have receptor sites on every cell in the body. So when we say that, you want to think about the fact that its deficiency or toxicity affects those really rapid growing cells. Again, the hair follicles, the eyelashes, vitamin D issues. I see people that get really thinning of the eyelashes and the eyebrows for sure. Again, patchy hair loss, really easy, really inexpensive test to run, but you really should check that if there's been a fluctuation in your weight. It's very simple to take a vitamin D. I like Genestra, is like one of my favorite brands. It's liquid, it's out of Germany. But you also want to check, once you've been on that for 6, 9, 12 months, you want to check and make sure that you have not toxicity, because that can affect, you can have the same exact symptoms.
So same symptoms.
Same symptoms if it's not balanced. Again, it's really important about having balance. It's like women can have hot flashes when their estradiol or their ETs are low, but they can also have hot flashes when their estrone has gotten high. So a lot of people, which is a very dangerous thing to do, take hormone replacement therapy without having their hormones tested, when in actuality they have an excess. Just had a woman the other day, maybe the sweet spot's 86, 120. Her estrogen levels, and we repeated it twice, was 824. But she was having all the symptoms of having estrogen deficiency. So labs are a great window into the body, but these are definitely things to look at from a weight loss perspective. And vitamin D is really important when you've had either an increase within a 2-year period, 10% up or 10% down of your body weight, and you're recognizing either a thinning of the eyelashes, losing hair, really, really suspect. The other thing that I always tell you guys is if you have a vitamin D deficiency and you live somewhere like Southern California, you shouldn't have a vitamin D deficiency. So it's usually an indication, again, vitamin D is a fat-soluble vitamin. It's really hormone. It's tied into all of our limbic system, our sex hormones, and it's stored in the liver. So I'm hoping these 3 things kind of gave you some ideas of 3 reasons to look at. On our line, we don't use things that are stimulating, that'll necessarily stimulate your production. We're all about kind of trying to feed the body using whole food-based products, using nutrients that are food for the body, and help create and support that imbalance. Have your thyroids tested, have your testosterone and some of the specifics tested. Check your vitamin D levels for sure, but also recognize that you're in the process of losing weight, but also completely rebalancing the system if you've got more to lose than 10% of your body weight.